All right, let's try this again. Okay, I know you all can hear me now. So, I've got my guests here on the Discord page, all lined up and ready to roll. You know, these guys are the guests today are Harold Harper with Guggen Brothers, Rick Garvalia. I said it right that time, and I didn't have to mute myself, Rick. Woo! Yeah, baby, I got it right. I got Chris Payne in the background from Payne Outdoors down in Texas. He's here to give us another tip tonight. I apologize about being muted, but my boy Greg Kupfner out there, thanks Greg, you always got my back. He let me know. The Feel Free event this week, we got Jason, I'm drawing a blank, Jason Denise from Florida. You got a video of him catching a monster 9.2 pound largemouth. He's going to tell us about that. So we're going to talk professional kayak anglers too. I got these guys here to give us their thoughts on who could be good at it, who is good at it, what it takes to be one, and what the future looks like. So, without further ado, let's get started. Go to commercial real quick. Let's let some sponsors talk.
Feel Free Kayaks, something for everyone. Pedal, paddle, or power, we can outfit you to meet your needs. For more information, visit feelfreeus.com.
Tractor Bar and Grill, located near Summersville Lake, Mount Nebo, West Virginia. Delicious menu, cold drinks, and fully stocked bar with a friendly staff. For more information, follow us on Facebook.
Guggen Brothers Custom Tackle specializes in jigs and Ned-style lures. Brothers who know what it takes to put fish in the boat. Check out their Facebook page. Search Guggen Brothers Custom Tackle.
Yak Gadget offers all kinds of kayak accessories such as motor mounts, anchor systems, and other track-based items to make your time more enjoyable.
All right, man, we are back when we got Garvagla on the show. Ricky. Tell us the secrets, man. I mean, tell us a little bit about how you got started into kayak fishing.
Yeah.
And how it transgressed and how it moved forward to where you're at now. One of the big sticks in West Virginia, won a big KBF event this year. Just give us a little bit of history on how you got started.
Well, two things really got me into kayak fishing. It sounds kind of strange, but it would be my parents gave me a bass boat. My mom did. When my dad died, my stepdad died, they gave me his boat. And so I got into fishing that way. But the second thing is coaching. I coached Joe Sterrett's daughter in basketball and got to know him. And then it just kind of took off from there. Frustrated not catching many fish, decided I want to learn more about fishing. And then met Joe and heard him selling these kayaks and doing all this stuff. Hunter McCorder, another coach in Lewis County where I was at the time, he did a couple tournaments and did really well, and I thought I'd give it a try. It come down to borrowing a kayak, the summer of 2018 I think it was, and floating down the Elk one time just to pre-fish for a father-son float. And the next year I bought a kayak, and then it's kind of taken off from there. So that's how I got into kayak fishing, just seeing the success that Joe Sterrett had, getting to go to national championship right away, seeing Hunter do well in a few tournaments, and I thought, man, I need to try this. So that's how I got into kayak fishing.
Did Joe tell you his story from his first event?
I'm sure he has, but that's been a few years ago and a few stories. But
Yeah, he would have won that Stonewall tournament, but he didn't know how to measure his fish, and so he had
okay.
penalties from. He had like 4 or 5 inches of penalties on each fish, and he ended up losing by like 2 inches. So, or not losing, but he still came in second. Had a great event.
Yeah.
So he learned a hard lesson.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, it's a pretty big learning curve. I mean, you're throwing in trying to learn how to bass fish and kayak fish and all the stuff for the tournaments. I mean, there's a lot going on. And if you start off in a river, there's even more going on.
Yeah,
you're floating backwards, you're floating sideways, you're getting seasick. You're just having a fun time out there. So, but yeah, that's how I got started.
So tell us about your success this year. You've done well in the last WVKA tournament. You won one down at Murray. Give us a little feedback on that.
Well, this is the halfway marker for this season. So I've been doing this for 2.5 years, and I did 1 year of bass boat fishing before that with Mon Valley Bassmasters. So really just taking time on the water, I would say, is the first thing. And that first year I got that big fish 105 from Joe, and an hour and a half before work I'd fish. And I'd get to work, and then every now and then after work I'd fish a couple hours. But it just was basically just putting the time in. And then this season, I mean, just sticking to the things that I would consider my strengths. That Murray tournament was one spot that I found on Google Earth Pro, and Edwin Evers and a couple other guys fished the moment. Some other YouTube people have really pushed that out there. Google Earth Pro, 3 fish from the sky, basically. And the spot that I landed on first thing in the morning was the winning spot at Murray. 1 fish on one end of the bank, and the other 4 on the point. I know there was at least 6 fish out in that point. Storm could tell you about one of them. But I caught those 5 with a crankbait in 40-degree water, and less than a foot of water. It was just an amazing day. So
yeah,
I think if it proves anything, anybody can win at any time. Kayak fishing isn't for just the big sticks that travel the country. Like Matthew Conant, which I was tied with and got a tiebreaker with big fish that day. The other guys, I mean, they fish week in and week out, and the next day they slayed them on the Lake Murray too. So just anybody can win any day, and you just have to find the techniques that you feel comfortable doing and have confidence in doing. And if it's the right conditions, stick with them. If it's the wrong conditions, learn a new technique, I guess. But
well, what tips or tricks would you share with the guys that are coming on board as a new, fresh, only got a couple of times out on the water? What items or techniques would you tell them to pick up right away?
Well, right away, I would say the wacky rig. Learn how to throw that. A weightless Texas rig Cinco. You can't go wrong with either one of those. I remember, was it everyone's beloved event last year, Lake Stevens?
The gold event.
I saw you going by there, Harper, and throwing everything you could, man. I just threw a 4-inch Cinco Texas rig and knew that a wacky rig wasn't going to work underneath those trees on the edge of the bank, and I just skipped that up in there. I learned how to skip with a spinning reel, and when it's tough, I mean, other anglers will tell you the same thing. Jeff Sisk, when it gets tough, upper mud, you throw a wacky or a Texas rig Cinco, or a Ned rig. That's the only reason I have a finish at upper mud was I caught one on a Ned rig. Those couple techniques I think would get anybody in business, and if they do those well enough, they would be top 10 right now.
Awesome. Hey, brother, we appreciate you jumping on here tonight and giving us some tips and tricks and telling us about how you got started. If you decide to hang around, and we'll talk about what we think it requires to be a professional kayak angler. Let's go to break real quick, and we'll bring on our next guest.
Feel Free Kayaks, something for everyone. Pedal, paddle, or power, we can outfit you to meet your needs. For more information, visit feelfreeus.com.
Tractor Bar and Grill, located near Summersville Lake, Mount Nebo, West Virginia. Delicious menu, cold drinks, and fully stocked bar with a friendly staff. For more information, follow us on Facebook.
Coogan Brothers Custom Tackle specializes in jigs and Ned-style lures. Brothers who know what it takes to put fish in the boat. Check out their Facebook page. Search Coogan Brothers Custom Tackle.
Kayak Gadget offers all kinds of kayak accessories such as motor mounts, anchor systems, and other track-based items to make your time more enjoyable on the water.
All right, guys, we're live with Chris Payne from Payne Outdoors. And Chris has got another tip or trick or something in mind for us today. Chris, tell us what you got, brother.
All right, so I want to talk about the two bait, in essence, that I use to find fish in deep water in the summer. Now, there are a lot of people that don't like to fish deep water and they just want to fish shallow, and kind of got that mentality of, well, I want to say shallow, or I've caught fish here, many times in the past, and you can catch fish shallow. However, I will tell you that if you've ever been on a busy reservoir, highland lake, whatever it is, the shallow fish are the most pressured fish in the lake, bar none. And so if you're fishing a tournament that is, in the summer months where you've got tons of boat traffic and that kind of stuff, what I'm looking for less pressured fish that don't, get near as many bait presentations. And so, like where I fish is a highland reservoir. We've got water up to 100 feet deep, sometimes clarity up to 30 feet deep. We've got smallmouth and largemouth. Yes, I'm in Texas, and yes, you heard that right, smallmouth and largemouth. And so what I'm looking for are those deep schools where they're, I believe the term is turtles on a log, right? You want to see them kind of one right after another on your sonar. If you see fish stacked, those are typically not largemouth bass. Those are typically white bass or buffalo carp or something like that. So I'm looking for turtles on a log along the bottom, usually in anywhere from 18 to 25 foot of water, sometimes 30 to 35 foot of water. But there are basically two baits that I use to see if I've got an active school and see if I can fire them up. And that is, number one, a deep diving crankbait. So this is a Strike King 8XD. This is the blueback chartreuse bait. This is probably my go-to in the summer because I can cover a lot of water with it. I can make really long casts in that clear water. When it gets down, you start to lose some colors. When you're in 25 and 30 feet of water, you don't get the colors like you do up top. And so that brighter color helps it stand out and makes those bass come look at it. Now, the 8XD is a bigger profile. It's almost a bluegill profile. And so if you're in a lake like I am that has a ton of shad as well, and the bass are keying on those pods of shad that are moved off of those ledges, then I'll switch it up and I'll use this River to Sea. So this is the tactical DD75. This will dive down to 20 to 22 foot of water. This thing is a bad boy right here. Because it's a little bit smaller profile. It's got a big bill. It deflects really well, and it's got a reinforced bill on the bottom side of it. And so you got a lot less breakage that happens on that bill. I'm fishing a lot of riprap and things like that mixed with timber. So that tactical from River to Sea, that tactical DD75, that thing is money for me. Now, if you are not in a pedal kayak and you are in a paddle kayak, I do not recommend fishing one of those baits if you're not on anchor. You're just going to swing all over the place. Pedals or a motor really help you stay in place and position. So what's the alternative to that then? Old Trusty, right? That's my jig right there. Okay? So here's the thing about a jig. A lot of people like to slow drag a jig, but if I'm fishing a tournament, I'm looking for active fish first, right? I want to get my 5, and then I'll go look for Fat Mama, right? And so how I get to that is I'm not going to drag this thing on the bottom. I'm not going to slow drag it. I'm not going to bounce it off of things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stroke it. And so there are a lot of people that are like, "What do you mean stroking a jig?" Okay, I'm gonna explain it real simple. Real simple.
Mark
I'm gonna
Edwards
that-
just said. Mark Edwards just posted out there. Catch them deep, you're going to cash a check.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're less pressured fish. You have a better chance if you get the bait down to them. You have a better chance of catching them because they're not as shy. They haven't gotten hit in the head with a whopper plopper, a frog, a spook, and everything else under the sun in the morning, right? They're just like, oh, free meal. Bass are typically lazy, and so if you present something that they're like, oh yeah, I could eat, right? That's like if my wife brings me a pizza while I'm sitting on the couch. Yeah, I could eat.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm looking at doing is I'm trying to get those fish to eat. I want to find the ones that are going to eat first. I can go back and slow drag later, but I got time ticking, so I got to move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this jig out, right? I'm going to have the typical trailer on it, right? This is the trailer that I have, but it looks similar to a rage-tailed menace or whatever, right? Typically normal bait.
Well, I think we lost you, Chris.
What I'm going to do at 3 o'clock, I'm going to take it up to 12 o'clock. Oh, you got me?
You froze up, big guy.
Yeah.
You froze up. That's okay.
Yeah. I did.
Make sure you put your links and stuff on our page here with those items that you're, and if you got those on the Paint Outdoor store where we can find them.
Yeah. Just hit the button. Close it. Okay. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back, baby.
You got me now? Okay. So real quick, sorry about that. Wi-Fi. So I'm going to toss this thing out. I'm going to let it sink all the way to the bottom. I'm going to reel up my slack. I'm going to go from a 3 o'clock position with my rod tip up to a 12, right? What needs to happen is you need to fish this on semi-slack line, right? If you're constantly reeling up to it, you're not going to allow that bait to go back to the bottom. 9 out of 10 of your hits are going to come when that bait is going back down on the fall, right? Because it's already sunk once. So now the bass are turning and they're looking at it and they're like, okay, what is this? And then you stroke it and it goes up and they're going to follow it up to see what it does. Then when it falls, they're like, oh, okay, corn dog's falling from the sky, chomp. And that's it, right? And so that's what you want to do is you want to stroke that jig to find those active fish. And what's going to happen is if there were 5 or 6 or 7 of them that are going to do that, they're going to go wolf pack and they're going to get fired up, right? You hear the pros talk about firing up a school, stroking a jig or throwing a big crankbait, you're going to fire up a school because they're going to become competitive. These fish are not, they don't have all the frogs and whopper ploppers and all that stuff coming at them. Yeah. And typically, if we think about your bigger fish are going to be deep because they're bigger. They prefer naturally colder water, right? They only come up to spawn, and you only catch big fish in the shallows typically outside of super heavy cover. If you've got a lake that has deep water, all of your big fish want to be cooler, right? They got all this extra padding and insulation and stuff, right? Think about us. When we got a little extra fluff on us, we want to stay cool. We run the AC, man.
That's
Fish
right.
are the same way.
I can attest
to that. These big girls,
that.
they want to stay cool. Yeah, they want to stay cool. So we got to go down deep in the cooler water, get them fired up, give them that floating corn dog coming down. Let's eat, and make it a competition, right? Let's have an eating competition. Who can eat the most fallen corn dogs, right? We're going to hook them. We're going to look them, take the picture, send them back down. You got to try it. So I'll put some in the comments. I'll give you the exact baits I'm talking about. You guys go find them, fish them. You're going to get bit. That's it.
Chris Payne, Paint Outdoors. Thank you, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Feel Free Kayaks. Something for everyone. Pedal, paddle, or power. We can outfit you to meet your needs. For more information, visit feelfreeus.com.
Tractor Bar and Grill, located near Summersville Lake, Mount Nebo, West Virginia. Delicious menu, cold drinks, and fully stocked bar with a friendly staff. For more information, follow us on Facebook.
Dugan Brothers Custom Tackle specializes in jigs and Ned-style lures. Brothers who know what it takes to put fish in the boat. Check out their Facebook page. Search Guggen Brothers Custom
Yes, sir.
Tackle.
Kayak Gadget offers all kinds of
Well, I grew up in New York on Long Island, worked on fishing boats for about 20 years, always fished saltwater, very little bit of trout fishing up there. Moved down to Florida about 10 years ago and got into the saltwater real heavy. And they screwed up the river system by us by dumping from Lake Okeechobee. It got real nasty. Decided let's get into some freshwater. I had to do some fishing still. About 5 years ago, I started bass fishing. 4 years ago, I started fishing as a co-angler in tournaments. And about 2 years ago, I got into the kayak scene. Oh yeah. Well, I was going down a weed line right off the bank, working a top water spook style bait. Switching that between that and a frog. Throwing the spook, working it along the edge. Big girl showed herself to me, so a bunch of bait fish scatter. Made a second cast. Working it. He just exploded on it.
Yeah,
Didn't
you could
think it was
see.
gonna be that big.
Yeah, you could see him bump at the first cast. But that second cast, man.
Yeah.
So,
When she
So we're-
first hit, I thought it was about a 6-pounder. Then she did that tail slap and sent water everywhere. Said, maybe a little bit bigger. Didn't
So-
think it was anywhere near what it was.
so tell us, what are you throwing there? What do you got? Your line? What is that bait? What are you using there?
I got a 7.6 Bass Pro Shops carbon light rod, heavy action. Abu Garcia Revo reel with 65-pound Power Pro Max Quattro line.
65
And I'm
pound.
throwing
Woo! That's awesome, man.
I've
Do you
been
have
around
any?
so much grass and submerged vegetation that anything less than that, these big girls are gonna wrap you up and break you right off. And the bait's a River to Sea Rover 128.
Now, how does that action work? Is that one of those double baits, or is that like a whopper plopper?
No, it's a spook style bait. It's a walk the dog,
Okay.
but it's got a tungsten ball inside, so it has a unique sound to it. And I don't catch as many fish on it. But
Yeah, I'm letting
it's
that
the bigger bites.
yeah, man, I'm letting that video run again for the guys that missed it the first time. But I know I was muted there. Thanks for the feedback, guys. I'm trying to watch my chat read over there too, and I apologize. But Jason is leading the Feel Free Summer Slam event after week 1. Now, one of his buddies went out with him Sunday, and they fished for a long time, and he caught a couple of monsters and is overtaking Jason for the lead for week 2. But I don't think Jason's going to take that too lightly. He'll be back out there.
Oh yeah, I'll going back out tomorrow. I got the day off, and it's on.
Awesome,
I'm coming for you.
Okay. So, yeah, here comes that fish in again, guys, if you missed it. That is a 9-pound, almost 2-ounce largemouth.
9 pound, 3 ounce. 3 ounce.
3 ounce. I apologize. 9-pound, 3 ounce. It was a 24 inches and 2.5, 24.25. What a fish. You can see it here when Jason pulls it out there and he lays it on that catch board. You can just see how massive it is. You know, and a New York boy must love that.
Yeah, that's once in a lifetime up there. It's funny because a year ago today, I caught one, same, a little bit longer, but about a half pound lighter in the same exact spot.
Think it might have been the same fish?
No, it's definitely a different fish, but it's something about that spot that draws them in, I think.
Huh. Awesome, man. So, you gonna win that grand prize package, that feel-free Moken V2?
I don't want to sound cocky, but yeah.
Awesome, brother. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on and giving us some feedback on that fish. I mean, what would you say your average fish down there? I mean, we were talking offline, and you were saying it don't happen like that very often. You catch.
No, those fish are special, but in a monthly tournament down here, I'm averaging anywhere between 105 and 115 inches for a month. And
did you hear that, guys? West Virginia guys, did you hear that? Hey, that's average down there. That's awful, man. That's awful.
There are a couple guys down here right now that have, for the month of June, over 115, 120 inches.
Wow.
It not me, but some of these guys, they really have it dialed in down here. And,
that's crazy.
but
well,
it's not an everyday thing. When you get on them, you could bang like the other guy did last week. You could bang a couple in a row, and then you'll catch nothing but 15, 16, 17-inch fish, which down here is just an average day.
Yeah. So I know you do some saltwater stuff too, so make sure if you get any good snooky fish and you get it on video, let me know so we can bring you back on. You can tell us about that.
Definitely will.
Hey, man, stick around if you want. We're going to talk about what it takes to be a professional kayak angler, and I'm going to bring on a panel of guys. You're more than welcome to chime in and tell us your thoughts on that. You know, you just got to remember, you New York boys, we've got a bunch of hillbillies up here from West Virginia, so they might give you a hard time. So let's go quick commercial, and I'm going to get everybody on here.
All right, thank you.
Feel Free Kayaks. Something for everyone. Pedal, paddle, or power. We can outfit you to meet your needs. For more information, visit feelfreeus.com.
Tractor Bar and Grill, located near Summersville Lake, Mount Nebo, West Virginia. Delicious menu, cold drinks, and fully stocked bar with a friendly staff. For more information, follow us on Facebook.
Coogan Brothers Custom Tackle specializes in jigs and Ned-style lures. Brothers who know what it takes to put fish in the boat. Check out their Facebook page. Search Coogan Brothers Custom Tackle.
Yak Gadget offers all kinds of kayak accessories such as motor mounts, anchor systems, and other track-based items to make your time more enjoyable on the water. Visit their Facebook page.
All right. So I got an ugly group of guys here. I got the panel. And we got, as you can see, we got Chris stayed around. So did JD. And Stormy's with us here. I've got Harold on. Let me unmute him. Harold, if you can hear me, buddy, you got to unmute yourself. There you go. And I got Rick.
Sorry, man.
You're good, brother. So, let's talk professional kayak anglers. Yesterday I decided to throw up a poll and ask guys, who do you think in our area would be considered a professional kayak angler, or who has the chops to be a professional, and what are they doing the right things? Y'all read it. Y'all gave me your opinions. So let's start off with Harold. Harold, tell us what you think, baby.
Well, to be honest with you, I think there's a lot of things that go into being pro angler. I mean, you just look at the bass boat side of things. One, you have to catch fish. I mean, that's what it all comes down to. You got to catch fish. Uh, there's several guys that I think in West Virginia can fill that. Can I mean they can meet that requirement. And second is social media. I mean, it's not 20 years ago to where you can just go out, catch fish. People go to Bass Pro Shops, they see your name on something. They start seeing you there. They start paying attention. Those that those that didn't already pay attention. But social media, I just think is such a huge part of today's sport. And then I think the third thing is, I guess there's four things. The third out of four is just being, a good guy, someone everyone can talk to. Because I mean, I've met some guys that, I mean, they knock the crap out of the fish, but they always talk to you like they're a little bit of a level above you. And I've seen some of that down at the national championship this year for BASS. And you see someone, you never met them, you just seen them on YouTube or Facebook or something like that. You say hi, and they kind of blow you off a little bit.
Stormy, your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Stormy?
You definitely have to be successful, and some guys definitely on hard.
Somebody's audio is, there's too much feedback. Hey, Chris, I think your fan or something's causing some feedback here for us. Stormy, you there? Go ahead, somebody, to tell us what you think, Stormy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were. Go ahead. I can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, you definitely have to be successful. But another big factor to successful, definitely have to be. I mean, like I was, Mark can go catch a fish. Cody, you have to be able to the different. Was talking about, you have to be able to market yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. I mean, guys got to market themselves, and when they market themselves, it works both ways. You market your company, your sponsors, yourself. There's a scratch your back effect. Rick, what do you think?
Well, I do think the strict definition would be if you could support yourself doing that. While I like the idea of being a nice guy and all that, and the guys down at the KBF event, they did a great job welcoming and being polite and all that. But if you don't win, you can't be a pro. I mean, those guys are finishing second place back-to-back nights and taking home good checks. So I do think to be able to do that would be the key to being a professional. There's definitely guys in our group that have been mentioned that can do that. They could be as nice to your face and be a total jerk off screen and all that. They're still a pro. That's just what I think. If you can make a living at it, that's great. And what we're talking about, who has the chops to do that here? That would not only be the ability, but the time to do that. So some guys, I think, could do it. It just, are they willing to take the risk and do it?
Well, all of this is hypothetical. Right now, I mean, kayak fishing is not going to pay us, and it's all hypothetical. If we were in the big bass world with the bass boat money within the kayak world, I agree with all three of you to some degree. I think you have to have personality. You can't be an asshole. And then you have to have sponsorship, because you're not going to win every tournament. There's a lot of good sticks, and you need to supplement your money. And sponsors put money in your pocket, whether it's actual cash or they help you with product. You know, tires, gasoline, and fishing poles, fishing line. All of that costs money, but if it's given to you, that keeps money in your pocket. So that's
fees too.
entry fees, things like that. Jay, what do you think, buddy?
I think to be considered a professional, you got to be able to make some money. Maybe not support yourself 100%, but definitely make some money. And I believe a true professional should be a good brand ambassador. Really promote the industry, promote the league, promote their sponsors, and that's basically it. It's you got to finish well, you got to be able to support yourself, and you got to promote the product. Push the kayak fishing, try to get it out there to the younger groups coming up. I think that's what really makes a true professional.
Chris, man's been around for a while. Tell us what you think.
So I think there's a lot of those elements that I agree with. For me, somebody that is, I think the IRS has to know about your tournament winnings before you can claim anything professional. So if you can win 13 events, but if you're not having to pay taxes on it, those are not that big of events, right? If you're not filling out W-9s and 1099s and all kinds of stuff like that, I don't consider it professional. Anybody can walk in and win a $10,000 thing, and the government's going to know about that. If you're winning at $500 or $600 at a time, I mean, so for example, right? So I'm fishing a local trail. It's got 20 to 25 guys, and I have sponsors and things like that, and I've not finished any worse than fifth. And I'm taking home money. I don't know that qualifies. I think it's multi-headed, and again, this is just me, but so names that come to my brain are like Eric Siddiqui, Christine Fisher, Matt Scotch, the guys that are fishing not just KBF, they're fishing KBF and FLW and bass and everything they can, because they know they have a good shot at going to any body of water and taking home some money. Right? That's what these pros did for a long time. They would fish FLW and BASS and whatever they could to cash checks. Now, coupled with that, I think to be a true professional, you have to get out of the smaller mom and pop sponsorships, and you have to get into the bigger non-endemic sponsorships. So if you're a kayak angler and you have Yeti and Costa and Toho tires and I don't know, an air conditioning business and all of these other people who are basically paying for you to travel the country and cash checks, yeah, that makes sense to me. And I don't think we're quite there. We have a lot of people who are traveling and doing this pretty much full time, right? I think you have to be able to pre-fish more than the day before the event at all of your events to really be considered that. Like if you're showing up and cashing checks, you may be a good stick, but if you're never pre-fishing, that's eventually going to catch up, right? And your stock's going to fall. So people that are putting in the work. And I also think the other thing to that is teaching other people. So
Yeah.
here is where you're really differentiated. If you look at the top level pros, what do almost all of them do? They teach seminars on Bass U. They teach seminars at Bass Pro. They teach seminars at hotel rooms. They are teaching seminars at trade shows. They're teaching. That is a professional, because that ties in the marketing aspect of it that they need to hit. That shows you their knowledge, that you can go and try and you can field test what they're telling you and prove they're an expert, right? They're not getting just guide information, right?
Right.
And they're teaching those of us who are coming up in the sport, here are the things that I do to make me successful. The guy that's tight-lipped, that cashes checks, I mean, yeah, maybe, but a true professional can make money in ways other than just a cashing a check at a tournament. They're going to get paid to do seminars. They're going to get paid to show up at things. They're going to get paid for all of the other things they bring to the table.
Yeah,
Shut up, man.
No, man, that was awesome. We posed the question. I posed the question here, and some guy, most of the local guys chimed in. A few of my friends from the national scene chimed in, and it was pretty much a consensus in our area that we've got our top 4 anglers would be Jody Queen, and everybody that knows Jody Queen knows that he is not bashful about providing guidance. He even provided that last week on the show. He was giving tips and tricks. When I was down at Lake Norman 2 years ago for a tournament, well, actually it was last March for the Hobie, one of the guys I was staying with, a 19-year-old boy down there, ran into Jody out on the water. And Jody, he praised Jody, never met him before, and absolutely was talking fantastic about Jody. Jody gave him a bait to throw, was telling him how the technique to throw it. And, this boy had just got a new Hobie and was out fishing and trying to, catch some fish, was showing me around. And I told Jody about that. He got a real kick about it. And then the other guy we talk about in West Virginia, who is a really shining and rising star, is Mark Edwards. And Mark Edwards is another one that's very, very knowledgeable and he will provide and share his knowledge with you. He's been on the show. He's talked about his techniques. And it's not just about baits, but it's also about lines and techniques of how to throw stuff. You can have JD was talking about there. He's throwing a 65-pound line because he's dealing with all that garbage he's got to drag in bass through. Up here in West Virginia, we're fishing Summersville Lake. A lot of us are probably throwing 6 or at the heaviest 8-pound test line because the water's so clear they can see it 30 feet down. So, and then Matt Ball, first national championship, give you the shirt off his back. He's a great ambassador to sport. Like to see him more, but he is, as Chris says, he travels a lot. He's always doing shows and working with his sponsors. Tim Isaacs come up. Tim Isaacs running Bass Nation here now, working his tail off, trying to get West Virginia up and running. And then, of course, our boys in West Virginia had never heard about one of the masters of the old school, and I know you know him, Chris, is Jedediah Plunkett from over at Martinsburg. Because Jedediah, became a fireman and stuff, and he's that new job. He hadn't been doing much nationally the past couple of years. But these boys will know him when they meet him because the man can flat out
he'll
stick.
take your lunch money.
Yeah, he can stick.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing for you guys that don't know him. Like, I consider him like the godfather of river smallmouth fishing.
Yeah.
Like, I learned so much sitting down talking to that dude. He will flat take your money and be so nice about it.
Yeah.
Like, he's a sweetheart, kind of like Matt is, but he's gonna come get your money. He's gonna get it.
Yeah, we need to.
Sounds like Mark Edwards.
Yeah. We need to get Jedediah to make a trip about 3 hours to the west and come out and hang with us in the central part of the state. But I know he's real busy. He's a fireman now. His life has changed from the days when he was fishing 6-7 years ago, Chris, when you were running things. But final thoughts, guys. What do y'all think? Are we pretty accurate with who are the up and coming guys in West Virginia that if they stick with it can be a professional angler?
I don't know too many of the guys up there, so I'll leave this to you guys.
Thanks, JD. Well, I know the guy at the bottom right corner of our screen's name popped up several times. 24-year-old man and his partner. He's been storming the scene the past 2 years. And then, the Guggen Bros, Harold up there, he's been a stick. He's been hanging around the leaderboards. His name didn't get thrown up any yesterday, not too much, but I believe if he sticks with it, he could be someone. And Rick's his third year. He's just looking at both him and Stormy and all these guys now are traveling Harold, they're all traveling the national scene now. And they all got started with the West Virginia Kayak Anglers Kayak Fishing Club. So I believe it's a good testament to what Greg Kupfner and I have got running there. And hopefully we can see you guys winning some money out there. Final thoughts,
John,
guys.
can I give some advice?
Shoot.
Yeah. So here's the thing. For you guys that are up and comers and for anybody watching this, let me give you one piece of advice that I learned early and often, right? Don't try to imitate anybody else. Be you, figure out what you're about, and do that to the best of your ability. If you try to mimic the Greg Blanchards and the Gene Jensens of the world and all of that stuff, or the Mike Iaconellis or the Ishmael Monroes, you're just a copy and a fraud, and people will see that. If they get to know you, like I got to know Matt Ball when he won that first championship, like I got to know all of the guys through those years, I know the individuals that are there, and I will stay with them forever. Like those are my guys, right? And so let people get to know you and be true to you, and you're going to do great, right? Because then there's no disappointment, right? You're just you. So be the best you.
Hey, I don't think we can end the show any better than that. So, with Chris Payne's final parting words, we're going to log off. Guys, thank you for coming on. And audience, thank you for watching. I really, really appreciate the text messages telling me how I failed to unmute myself when I was talking to these guys during break. So, I apologize for my failures. All we can do is try to keep getting better. Just like what we do out on the water. Keep slinging that line. God bless you guys.
You too, buddy.
You too. Thank you for having me.
All right. 12 seconds. We're offline. 10, 9, kicking it. God bless you guys. JD, appreciate you coming on.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. This is on YouTube if you want to share it, and on Facebook Live.
See y'all.
Guys, we'll see y'all next week. And happy Georgia Fly. Damn, I forgot to say it out loud. Happy 4th of July, guys. God bless you.